How do you feel?
I'm nervous, but excited. Let's do this.
To give you a little context for what you're about to watch, my name's Austin, this is Gospel Simplicity, and I'm a Protestant who for almost a year or so now has been investigating church history. It all started when I made a video about going to a Catholic Bible study, and then my channel got bombarded by all of these Catholics, which was amazing. I went to Mass, shared my experience, did a tour, and things blew up. Before I knew it, I was on Catholic podcasts, I was getting interviewed by people really smart, and I found myself asking all types of questions that I wanted to get to the bottom of. Well, I've been asking those questions to some of the smartest people I can find and continuing to do that and go to masses and going to Orthodox divine liturgies and all of these things as I investigate church history and try to come to grips with the claims of Catholicism and Orthodoxy, and it's been incredible. But during that same time, a lot of other things have happened in my life, and not always do YouTube and my personal life overlap. Sometimes they do, but in other times they don't. And recently I got engaged, and my fiancé has been asking some of these same questions by watching some of my videos, getting curious about these things. And I thought, well, let's go to a mass. You can experience Catholicism firsthand, see what you think, especially if you want to investigate these things, kind of have a picture in your head. So anyway, I'm Austin, I'm a Protestant investigating these things, and what you're about to see is a video of my fiancée sharing her thoughts on what her first experience at a Mass was like. We didn't originally plan on making this video, but a bunch of people requested it after finding out we went, and Eliza was kind enough to do it to answer some of the questions. I asked her about her first experience, so be sure to say thanks to her. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to become a part of what we're doing. Anyway, here it is. Yesterday we went to your very first, right, Catholic Mass?
We did.
At St. John Cantius, and now you're gonna just tell us some of your thoughts.
Yeah.
So, Eliza, first impression of your first Catholic Mass. When you first walked into the building, what did you think?
I was just in awe. I was like, this is beautiful. It is so pretty. That church is just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Catholic churches like that in Europe. But every time I walk into a church like that, it's just crazy. It's beautiful. Yeah, so that was my first thought, like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty similar to my first thought the first time I walked in. And I have to say, the first time I ever came in here, the first reaction is just, wow. And I mean, it silences you seeing it all. It's incredible. Yeah, you kind of like want to just pause when you first walk in and just kind of take it all in. She's much better with art than I am, but there's a lot there, and even a pleb like me can appreciate what's going on in that building. So we get in there, not as early as I'd like to be. I'm usually an early person, but that's okay.
Not.
Hey, that's okay. And so we get in, service starts, and what did you think from there?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I didn't know what was going on, but I thought it was really cool. I mean, I love the tradition aspect of it and just the symbolic meaning of everything. He was kind of helping me through it.
Trying.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just cool to see, to experience. But yeah.
Yeah. And so to give people a little bit of perspective, in fact, you're wearing a shirt from the church you go to.
Mm-hmm.
Describe a little bit like the church you go to. What is that like on a weekly experience? Is it close to Cantius?
No. No. So it's more contemporary, and
That's an understatement.
yeah, it's very energetic. I mean, yeah, we have people throughout the service, they will just like, if the pastor says something good, they'll be like, come on, pastor. Like, they'll just like hype up the church, and it's really fun and just like energetic, yeah, like I said. So yeah, it was very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just bought a movie theater out. I mean, it's a big church.
Yeah.
They have their own denim jackets. I think that probably tells
Yeah.
people a little bit about what it's like. So that's about as far as you can get from St. John Cantius, and I'll be putting some shots in if people haven't seen it of what it looks like. But it's a little different. And then for my Catholic friends that actually know stuff about this, in case you were wondering, we went to an ordinary form of the Mass. So there's ordinary and extraordinary. These are all things I've had to learn. And I asked you if you wanted to go to a Latin Mass, and you said, let's do English.
Yeah.
So that was the ordinary form, or the Novus Ordo, as they call it. And so a little more accessible because of that, but still a lot of things that maybe you aren't used to. A lot of liturgical responses that I feel like I can hit about 60% of them. The others I kind of, along with everyone else. But I was trying to give you kind of some updates of what's going on throughout the service. But it's definitely different than what you're used to. I mean, saying, come on, pastor, is, I suppose, a liturgical response of its own. And so. Father Joshua would have been open to that if he was preaching.
Yeah.
He's got that inner Pentecostal in him. But speaking of that, you got to meet Father Joshua afterwards, who is the pastor of this church. And if you've been watching my videos for a while, chances are if you came to my channel, you might have come to it from a video I did with Father Joshua. And getting to take you to Cantius was special for a couple of reasons. First of all, because my YouTube channel is all in this world. You've seen me make videos about Catholicism, Orthodoxy, and I might ask like what that's been like in a second. But St. John Cantius, of the, I don't know how many views the channel has right now, let's say like 1.5 million or something. I think they're responsible for like 400,000 of them. So they've played a really big role in my YouTube success, whatever you want to call it. And so it was really cool just getting to share that space with you. The first place I went to a Catholic Mass, and you got to meet him. What was that like?
That was cool. It was cool because, like, I've seen the tour. I've seen the interview. He seemed like a great guy on camera, and he is a great guy in person. Yeah, he's very intentional. And yeah, he's awesome. He's funny. He's hilarious. Like, you wouldn't know it, but he's really funny.
Yeah. So we went to the 5 o'clock service. Afterwards, they do Compline, the last liturgy of the hours of the day. And I took her to the relic room.
You've got a jawbone of Virgin and Martyrs. You've got all kinds of pieces, whole relics. In fact, we even have an entire body of a saint.
Showed her a body and a tongue and lots of other interesting relics. What did you think of that?
That was very interesting.
They don't have relics at your church?
No.
No? Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But probably not ever. But it was interesting. It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff is from
a long time ago.
A very long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how they just it's still there.
Yeah. Now, do you think this would have been more strange for you had... I'm not going to claim that you watch all my videos. I'm not even sure I watch all my videos. But having heard me talk about these and talk through my existential crises on the Eucharist and different things, and listening to my videos and kind of keeping up with it, do you think it was maybe less weird? Were you more prepared to go to service because of that? Or was it just as weird as it would have been? Or maybe more weird, because now you know some of it.
No, I think it helped.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of understand, again, what's going on. Yeah, I think it helped. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been investigating these things for a little bit, and just the other week you were saying, this summer, I'd like to read up on bishops and stuff. So eloquent. How do I have a YouTube channel? Why do people listen to my videos? This is why she doesn't watch all my videos, because she knows I'm not that smart. But what's kind of inspired you to do that, and do you think that made the service a bit more intriguing?
Yeah. I don't know. Just kind of all your YouTube videos and just figuring out what exactly are you learning, and just the history kind of behind it, and stuff like that.
Where did the church come from?
Yeah.
They're interesting questions. So you made a really interesting connection yesterday when we were talking about this, and again, just go ahead and leave a like on the video for Eliza and a comment for how great she is, because being on camera is not exactly your favorite thing of all time. I'm usually the one that talks to cameras, and I didn't have a plan to do this video, but then we took a picture outside the building and we posted it. I posted it, and everyone was like, we need to know her thoughts because obviously they love you and you're far more interesting than I am. And so I was like, hey, it's like 11 o'clock last night. I just got back to my dorm. She's probably just trying to go to bed. And I was like, what do you think of doing a video like tomorrow? But anyway, so we were out getting dinner last night after going to service. And you made a connection to the church you grew up in. That in a way it felt kind of like that. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Lutheran church, and yeah, it was a lot like that. Like our pastor would, like we would go over the prayers and, yeah, she would sing.
The liturgy?
Yeah, there we go.
And they would say like, Lord, hear our prayer.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
responses.
And then like the congregation, they had like certain people who would read off the prayer, like a prayer that people send in or whatever. And then yeah, we would respond, Lord, hear our prayer. So yeah, I just kind of was like, this is a lot like Lutheran church.
Yeah.
Took me kind of back to my childhood.
I bet.
But
yeah. Which is intentional, like coming out of the Reformation, Martin Luther and the Lutheran Church, they wanted to retain what they could retain. So some people had kind of the perspective of, if it's not in the Bible, we got to get rid of it. And others had more of a perspective of, if it doesn't contradict the Bible, then we can keep it. And so there's kind of a spectrum there. But in light of kind of, we've gone through some of the things you liked and whatnot and kind of the touch points you had, what was like the weirdest part? Because I know when I first went to a service there, like there were parts of it that were just kind of weird for me. I mean, I didn't grow up in a high church. I grew up in more of a church like you go to, a little less charismatic, and that was like the only church I went to for almost my entire life. So I never recited the creed in a church. Did you guys do that at the Lutheran church? You guys?
Yeah.
Okay. But what was something that was just kind of weird for you?
Weird? I don't know, again, it was a lot like Lutheran church, so I was kind of used to it. But like part of the service or just like part of
Any of it.
Probably the relics.
The relics.
That was really
like you don't have like cut off tongues in your church? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, a little strange.
Yeah, but the service, all in all, it was pretty normal. I don't know. I guess. Oh, one thing was interesting. How like, I think called like.
What are what called?
Priests.
Priests, yeah.
Yeah, priests. They are turned backwards.
Oh, it's interesting you picked up on that.
Yeah.
Because that's so.
I thought about that during the service.
My more traditional Catholic audience will really like that. So that's fascinating because the Mass used to always be celebrated like that. It's called ad orientem, facing east, kind of thing, facing away from the congregation. Then in the 60s was like liturgical reform at the Second Vatican Council. This is the part where you're like, usually tell me I'm getting boring at this point and I should speed up. But they made some changes to the Mass to try to make it more accessible to Protestants like us. And so most Catholic churches, if you went to them, the priest would be facing everyone else. But Cantius being Cantius, they kind of stick to the way things used to be done, and so they do it facing away. But that's really interesting you picked up on that, and people will like that. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I think I made a comment on this when I made my far less interesting reaction video to my first service, or first Mass, and that was that closed communion. So, and that's the practice of not like letting non-Catholics or whatever have communion. First of all, did you know that was going to be the case?
Yes.
Okay, you did.
You told me.
Did I warn you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either you told me or.
Did you watch one of my videos?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so touched. So, how did that feel? I understand it theologically. Well, I kind of understand. I know the reasons that are given. I'm not sure they're the best reasons. That might get me in trouble. We'll see. But, to me, it never feels good. I can understand it. I can respect it. I'm not going to, try to break the rules. But what did you think?
Yeah, it just kind of felt weird. Kind of, not inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that rude? I'm sorry. But, but yeah, it just kind of felt like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So here's another question for you, and we can wrap it up soon. I have no idea how long this has been going. But the kind of more bodily involvement of the service. Now, you go to a pretty charismatic church, so you got people like, amen, brother, like standing up. So there's like kind of these interesting overlaps between the two. And Father Joshua would like that. He calls himself a tradismatic. The first time we met, he said, "What do I do if during the Latin Mass my congregation wants to start speaking in tongues?" I said, "Father Joshua, I have no idea. Why are you asking me?" He's amazing though. Talks about like a tent revival in the midst of a Latin Mass. Anyway, the aspects of kneeling, standing, etc., sitting, like those kind of portions of the service, did that feel weird? I mean, did you have that in the Lutheran church? Were there kneelers and stuff?
We didn't have kneelers. We didn't kneel except for at the altar when we'd had communion.
Oh, did you? Okay, interesting. On the tongue or on the hand?
On the hand.
Okay.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
This one. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think it was this one. Anyways.
She just did that to show off her ring.
Yeah. What was the question?
What did you think of sitting, standing, kneeling, kind of like those parts of the liturgy?
Right. I thought it was interesting. Kind of, I mean, in the Lutheran church, we sat and stood, sat and stood. But, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But.
So, big question. Would you go back?
Maybe, yeah. If I understood what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'll go back.
Yeah.
Just to experience it again. Just not as like experience it for like a second time. And not
mumble through it all.
First time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like watching a movie. You have to watch it again. Or like a show. You have to like watch it again to pick up everything. But, yeah.
Very cool. Well, Eliza, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I'm sure people appreciate it. Any last words you want to share?
No.
Awesome. Well, everyone, be sure to thank Eliza because, again, this is not so much her thing. You crushed it. Super proud of you. There's one last thing we have to do. We have to thank our sponsor, Kindred. Kindred is a company, a ministry that creates these beautiful Bibles, and you've seen them.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
You have a copy of your own.
Yeah.
And she was so kind as to model it for me, hold it, and flip the pages in my review of the Gospel of Luke. But should people get a copy of a Kindred Bible?
Yes.
Yes, they
definitely.
should. And they can do so by going to kindredapostle.com and use the promo code GOSPEL10 for 10% off their order. They should do that right now, shouldn't they?
Right now.
It's a beautiful Bible. Go do that. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Until next time, be on the lookout for more videos. And do you know what we say at this point? And as always, go out and... Do you watch the videos to the end? Oh, she's about to be exposed. Love God and love others because truly above all else, that will change the world. We'll work on it. Peace.